World of One Punch Chapter 8. Honk. Now it's just the two of us. Do you want to be caught by me all the time, or do you have a decent fight with me, weirdo? The Vest Venerable stopped talking nonsense, his eyes crossed. Hung up the phone and put it in his pocket, and grabbed Fei Duan's wrist tighter, but he didn't use any force, worried that he would hurt the golden ball. Ha ha ha. Fei Duan raised his head and smiled darkly, but did not answer. It's just that when he laughs, the color of his skin gradually lightens, recovers as before, and becomes normal. Chapter 13, The Vest Venerable. The Vest Venerable was slightly surprised, his face sank like water, let go of Fei Duan's hand, and took a few steps back. Then he hugged his chest with both hands, his muscles bulged, and he ran while shouting, making a killer impact. Look at the move, vest grab. Quote. He admired the courage of the other party, but 1 yard to 1 yard, this guy killed a lot of people, should he clean up or clean up? But what people didn't expect was that in the face of the attack of the Vest Venerable, Fei Duan actually threw away the three-bladed sickle and clicked. What? The Vest Venerable was puzzled by his actions, but instead of stopping, it became more intense. The next 3 abuses, I will immediately sacrifice you to the evil god lord, he. Fei Duan's face was gloomy, and he laughed hoarsely. When the words fell, the skin of his body, including his body shape, suddenly changed. 2 curved, sickle-like sharp corners grew on the forehead, sharp nails, like scissor hands, the surface of the body was covered with a bone shell, and there was a sharp slender tail behind it. And the eyes were deep and dark, and there was nothing, as if it was a hollow. Finally showing your true face? Before that, the Vest Venerable raised his eyebrows, quickened his pace, exerted his whole body strength, and slammed into it. Rumble. The latter did not have time to dodge, and his figure flew upside down, crashing several shelves, spilling goods, and then hitting a large hole in the wall, filled with smoke. Ahem, is that all? A moment later, the shadow that was a little higher in the flying section staggered to his feet, saying mockingly. It's not over yet. The Vest Venerable opened his mouth and roared, without thinking, forcibly removed the 2 glass doors of the mall, his palms were thick and strong. And he smashed straight towards the other party. With a snap, the glass door shattered into countless slag, fixed eyes, but the flying segment disappeared into the smoke at an unknown time. Huh, where's it going? The Vest Venerable bent his body slightly, prepared a defensive posture, looked around, and looked wary. On the ceiling, the weird flying segment inserted his claws into the wall, the corners of his mouth outlined an evil smile, and suddenly jumped down coldly, aiming at the back of the Vest Venerable. Wanting to penetrate his neck. The distance was getting closer and closer, and seeing that the Vest Venerable was about to be killed, he suddenly turned around and glared angrily. Don't underestimate the power of the Vest. Weirdo. Immediately turned around and put out a right hook punch, his eyes were fierce, and he slammed into Fei Duan's brain, which was his unreserved punch. Abominable, bastard, Fei Duan cursed. In the blink of an eye, his left cheek was hit hard, the outer bone shell clicked and shattered directly, and the whole person was punched and flew. And 2 blood-stained teeth were lost. Gaining the upper hand, the Vest Venerable did not have time to rejoice, but he found that the situation was not good, and said positively, it can actually repair itself. Quote. What's wrong? Fei Duan stood up vomiting blood in his mouth, and his outer bone shell grew automatically and was repaired intact. The injuries he suffered in the flesh, the severity of which a normal person would have died a long time ago, and he could live until now, all relying on the strange immortal body. And after the weirdo, it was even more difficult to deal with. Phew. The Vest Venerable let out a long breath, and frankly, his current situation was not optimistic. Before he arrived here, he ran all the way non-stop, ran for several kilometers, did not rest at all, was not in the best condition, fought against this difficult weirdo. If he could not solve him quickly, things would get worse and worse. No way. As if he had made some decision, the Vest Venerable punched the ground and grabbed it hard, and with countless cracks in the ground. The foundation stone of the mall was easily lifted by him, which was 2 or 3 meters wide. Yay! With a roar, he threw it forward heavily. Rumble. Yo! Fei Duan only felt excited, jumped to the side with a big stride, sneered and dodged, and the position just now was crushed in a blink of an eye, and the ground was shaken. He sprinted with the trend, ran straight to the Vest Venerable, and dug through without sparing effort with 2 scissor hands that glowed with cold light. Underestimating me. The Vest Venerable's muscles soared, grabbed the shelf next to him, swung it from right to left, and slammed it like a weapon. The flying section was sturdy and hit by a blow, many outer bone shells were shattered, and the body flew into the shelf pile on the left like a ball. At this time, there was a burst of footsteps outside the mall. It was a group of big men in vests, led by the younger brother of the Vest Venerable, the Vest Tiger and the Vest Black Hole. Big brother, we're here to help you. The Black Hole of the Vest shouted excitedly, and the younger brothers behind immediately followed. Quote ? What are you doing? Step back, this guy is not something you can deal with. Hearing the incomparably familiar voice, the Vest Venerable relaxed his nerves and subconsciously turned around. And the moment he turned back, a red light flashed in the pile of shelves, and the figure of the flying section rushed towards him at an extremely fast speed. Suffered. The Vest Venerable was shocked, and used the shelf on his hand to defend, and must not be injured to let him get blood. As a result, the flying section swept directly over his body, stretched out with one hand, and his target was the vested tiger that did not react. Go and die. Ha ha ha. As if finding a new toy, the flying segment was boiling with emotions. The vested tiger's eyes widened, and he had no power to resist, and could only watch as the strange man got closer and closer to him. Poof! Blood spilled, and suddenly splashed half of the face of the vested tiger. subconsciously closed his eyes, opened them again, and found a great back, blocking in front of him, and his chest was ruthlessly penetrated. Quote, Eldest brother, the pupils of the vested tiger constricted, including all the younger brothers, looking at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Run away. The vest venerable had a sweet throat, blood spilled from the corners of his mouth, and his palms desperately grabbed Fei Duan's arm. How could this happen? The vest tiger's whole body trembled, and the guilt was groundless. You're bleeding. Fei Duan licked the bloodstains on his lips with his blackened tongue, the corners of his mouth hooked a proud arc, and the blood of the vest venerable also splashed on his face. After speaking, his internal flesh, which was protected by the outer bone shell and had been strange, turned black again, and he cast a spell, death by blood. Let's go. The vest venerable clenched his blood-stained teeth and shouted loudly. As the blood kept flowing, he felt that his body was getting weaker and weaker, slowly losing his strength. And was about to be broken away by the other party. No. We have to advance and retreat with our eldest brother. The vest tiger and the others immediately cried with a runny nose, clenching their hands into fists. It's a touching scene, but it's a pity it's over. Fei Duan flicked his long tail, sneered, and pierced his heart without hesitation. A sharp pain came from the chest of the vest venerable, a large mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth, his eyes gradually dissipated, and his head drooped. Big brother, the younger brothers shouted in horror and stood still. What happened just now? Why did the eldest brother get so seriously injured all of a sudden? Ha 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 ha. Fei Duan looked at the sky and laughed. His brain was excited, painful and happy, and the resentment that he had just been violently beaten by the other party was finally released. He broke free from the weak vest venerable's hand and lowered his head to look at the rest of the people condescendingly. Don't you avenge your eldest brother, he died. Fei Duan's tone was playful, his face sank, and he said a desperate word. Bastard weirdo. The vested tiger was the first to run up, angrily throwing his fist at Fei Duan's hateful face. Poof. Aha. The other party's understatement made the vest tiger's chest instantly have an extra slash with flesh and skin, and then screamed, rolled his eyes and fell to the ground. And the tiger print vest he was wearing was quickly soaked red. Chapter 14. A Time of Crisis. Well, so strong. The black hole of the vest with a flustered expression, swallowing a mouthful of saliva, trembling to witness the whole process, between himself and this strange person, there is not a level at all. Could it be that the eldest brother is really dead, and what are they going to do in this situation? Under the threat of being only one step away from death, the brain of the vest black hole quickly came to the conclusion that instead of sending it to death in vain, it was better to find a way to move the rescuers and avenge the eldest brother. Let's run. Thinking of this, the vest black hole turned around and shouted busily. Run? Where to run? It was basically certain that the vest venerable was dead, and Fei Duan lifted the death division with blood and pulled out the tail that ran through his heart. Move your body, instantly come to the black hole of the vest, and raise the terrifying right hand that looks like a scissor claw. All of you, die here. Fei Duan laughed twice, and said arrogantly, he wanted to directly gouge off the head of the black hole in the vest. Finally turned back to our bastard, I said, don't underestimate the power of the vest. What? Caught off guard, a voice full of anger sounded behind him. Fei Duan turned his head, saw a strong fist sweeping over, clicked, smashed his neck crookedly, spit out a line of blood. And the whole person flew out upside down and buried in the pile. Big brother, the vest black hole and the little brothers were ecstatic. The eldest brother was actually not dead, it was too powerful, it was worthy of being the S-class hero they worshipped. The invincible vest venerable. It's not over yet. The vest venerable was strong and bleeding non-stop. He roared, used all his strength, punched into the ground, dug out the second foundation stone, and threw it violently towards the flying section, like Tarzan pressing the opponent's body. Rumble. The ground trembled strongly, like an earthquake coming. My lovely little brothers, let's go. Otherwise, I'm going to be angry. The vest venerable glanced back at the vest black hole and said in a threatening tone. Yes, be. A drop of cold sweat flowed from the black hole of the vest, and his body stood upright, nodding in response. For a moment, he felt that his eldest brother was even more terrifying than that weirdo, and he didn't dare to disobey, and hurried to help the severely injured and unconscious vest tiger. Preparing to evacuate. As he ran, he shouted at the others, what are you still doing, come and help. Ooh, several people immediately went over to help and worked together to carry the vested tiger away. Big brother, you must kill that guy. Before leaving, the vest black hole had tears in his eyes, and his heart was very apprehensive. The vest venerable turned his back to the younger brothers and raised a thumbs up with his blood-stained hand. Not long after everyone left, a flat cut appeared on the surface of the foundation stone, which immediately exploded, and an embarrassed figure stood up. Hey, what is your body made of? Why isn't it dead yet? Fei Duan appeared more excited, his speech leaked, his cervical spine was crooked, and one eye was bloodshot. Although he is an immortal body, his physical body cannot heal itself, and even if he is weird, he can only regenerate the outer bone shell. I also want to say this to you. The vest venerable endured the pain in the wound and said hard. The two sides soon fell into a standoff, and neither made a move first. In a dimly lit room, Emperor Tong fidgeted and looked at the notebook on the table, and the screen showed that the current situation of His Holiness in the vest was very unoptimistic. He had been monitoring the battle on both sides, but fortunately the monitors in the corner of the mall were not damaged. What's going on with this weirdo? The ability is weird, don't say, can't you still fight? Emperor Tong put the keyboard in both hands and said with great concern. Chapter 1 Previous Chapter 8 93rd Next chapter Epilogue Table of Contents. Previous. Siheyuan, cut off Hu Chin Wairu, life is boundless. Next.